Half-Life 3, thank you for watching, take care. No, wait, don't go yet, let's do it properly. Most of the great games that we play usually get sequels after sequels, be that The Witcher series or 247 or something installments of Final Fantasy. There are cases though where it all just stops on the high note, whether that's the first or the second installment. So today let me share with you a short list of games that I really think should get sequels, but there are solid reasons to believe that they never will. I know I should never say never, but I believe this is extremely unlikely. So let me begin with the most recent wish of the online community, and that is Battlefront 3. Star Wars Battlefront got 2 installments twice. Back in the early 2000s by Pandemic Studios, and then about 10 years later, 2 games were made by DICE under EA's exclusive license for making Star Wars games. Star Wars Battlefront 2 in 2017 did not have a great start because of all the drama surrounding microtransactions. EA addressed the issue fairly quickly, and luckily, in the end, the game was generally received in a positive way. And then something happened just over a month ago, and people started cranking up those concurrent players numbers on Steam and started asking, where is Battlefront 3? Why won't you make another one? While the previous record on Steam for Battlefront 2 reached around 10,000 players, the current one is set at almost 36,000 players. That is usually unheard of for the game to get so many players so long after release. Many ex-developers saw the resurgence of interest in the game. Even the actor playing a role in Andor that was releasing at that time was lobbying for getting Battlefront 3 made. DICE generally knows how to make shooters, so I understand why people would like to see another game made. It's a lot of fun, it's distinct from Battlefield, but I think it's highly unlikely. First of all, EA no longer has exclusive rights to making Star Wars games. Even though they're using the license again with Zero Company, they don't have to pump out new games to fulfill the agreement with Disney. And releasing 2 Battlefront games in 2015 and in 2017 felt like a desperate move, even though the games were good. Seeing how focused on delivering the next Battlefield EA is, and keeping in mind that this is their own IP and there's no licensing cost involved as it would be with Battlefront, the focus on the non-Star Wars shooter obviously makes sense for the company. And let's be real here, EA is not known for its community-first approach. While I had a lot of fun in both Battlefront series, I think we are done with it, at least for a very long time. Unless the Star Wars franchise dies down for a bit again and then suddenly returns with another trilogy and then restarts the money-making machine, I just hope no one bullies the devs into making another one. Speaking of bullies though, Bully 2. While we talk about Rockstar today mostly from the perspective of GTA and Red Dead Redemption, there's more to the company than just that. Rockstar owns the IP to Max Payne, they had 2 Manhunt games, they had Midnight Club, but among all of that there was also Bully, which a lot of people considered to be a GTA set in a boarding school. The story followed a certain Jimmy Hopkins who had to rise through the ranks of Bulworth Academy. As you'd expect from Rockstar, Bully was obviously a third-person open-world game where you could traverse on foot, on a skateboard, on a bicycle, and other fitting means of transport. You had to attend classes, complete side activities. It was generally a fun game, an interesting sidetrack for Rockstar to bring this kind of gameplay into life. However, everyone obviously expected this to be a high school GTA with all its violence and sexual content, especially after the previous hot coffee mod drama for San Andreas, so obviously there were varied attitudes towards the game in different countries around the world. In relation to age rating, it was even banned in Brazil, and the infamous anti-Rockstar lawyer Jack Thompson did all he could to stop the release of the game in Florida. The game generally got a really positive response from the players and from the critics, despite some of its flaws, and it wasn't as bad as everyone thought it would be. In that case, then how about making a sequel? Apparently there were attempts to do that, and a team of about 50 to 80 people worked on Bully 2. They had a working vertical slice, the game was supposed to have the map the size of GTA Vice City, there were new systems at play. The problem is that sequel was cancelled, 10% of the leading studio's staff laid off, and the rest was reassigned to different projects. There were rumors that Rockstar might focus on the game after releasing Max Payne 3, but that didn't really happen, or at least not officially, and we know nothing about it. A lot has changed within Rockstar since then, and most of the people who wished for the sequel to Bully already forgot about this rough gem. I think it's unlikely for the team to ever return to the franchise, seeing how much money GTA makes and how much work they put into a single game. That was also very apparent with Red Dead 2. But to get to the real reasons why Bully 2 was canned by Rockstar, you need to have a proper detective. And with that in mind, let's talk about LA Noire. Do you remember the game with the most realistic facial expressions that you would have to observe carefully to know if the person is lying? I mean, you know, this? Okay, let's say that for 2011, when the game was coming out, this was impressive, but only in time we realized how unrealistic all of that was. But that's usually what happens with technological advancements and time. The game was made by Team Bondi, published by Rockstar, and it really felt like a Rockstar product. You played as Detective Cole Phelps in 1947 Los Angeles, you were investigating crime scenes, interrogating suspects and witnesses, solving cases. It was a really fun game that got 89 on Metacritic, and in the end it sold over 7.5 million copies. The tech that was used to capture facial expressions was impressive, with 32 cameras recording actors at a 1000 frames per second. Take-Two CEO regularly mentioned how well LA Noire performed sales-wise and how important it is for the company, and not counting out a sequel to the game. But seeing that in 2021, the main actor said that he never heard a word about a sequel, and generally the studio itself that made the game no longer exists. Actually, the team that used to do this game later worked on the VR subset of cases playable in virtual reality, then worked on a VR port of one of Rockstar's games that was apparently cancelled, and this year the team was acquired by Rockstar and rebranded to Rockstar Australia. Does it mean that there is a chance for the sequel to come then? Well, I don't think so. The game was originally really expensive to make, the tech that was used back then is no longer that impressive, and it took extremely long time to make it happen all those years ago. And Rockstar is also focusing on other franchises, deciding to limit the number of games they either make or publish in favor of quality and complexity to be able to make more money long term. I would love to have Cole Phelps back, or maybe get a spiritual successor to LA Noire, but I'm afraid it's been too long. Speaking of too long, you could actually say the same about getting Black and White 3. This is a very personal one, but Black and White was one of the games of my childhood. Playing as a god whose aim was to defeat another deity wanting to take over the world, with the little cute angel and devil working as your advisors, and obviously the creature that was your pet that if trained properly could help you convert the villagers, it was amazing. Faith was used as a resource to perform miracles, your creature could learn to perform those miracles as well. It was really an absolute masterpiece by Lionhead Studios and Peter Molyneux, back in the days when he was known for more than just spreading fake information about his upcoming projects. This game came out in 2001, it later got a sequel, but it wasn't as critically acclaimed as the first game, considering it only got 75% on Metacritic compared to 90% of the first Black and White. Since we generally no longer have proper god games, I firmly believe that there is a place for revival of this genre, and what better series to do that with than Black and White? The issue is, we can't even get a proper re-release of the first game. It sits on the top of the dream list on GOG for years now. I would absolutely buy it day one again, but since Lionhead Studios, the creators of the game, were purchased by Microsoft with all of its IPs, and the publishing rights stayed with EA, there is no hope in hell that a proper agreement can be made to have at least the first game remastered in some way to run it easily on modern PCs, never mind making a proper third game. Oh, and Lionhead was actually closed by Microsoft in April 2016, and the creative directors from the studio went on and founded 2 Point Studios, which solely focuses on very successful 2 Point series. Some people still believe that Half-Life 3 will happen. Meanwhile, I will always have a bit of hope that Black and White can come back, either as a remaster or a completely new game. I know it's most likely never happening, that's why the game is here, but I will take this belief with me to my grave. And there's another equally undying belief from a group of fans who still hope for a remaster or simply Bloodborne 2. I honestly don't know which group believes more, fans wishing for a Bloodborne sequel or remaster, or fans wishing for Half-Life 3. Every time a new gaming showcase is coming, especially Sony's State of Play, Bloodborne is all over the chat, and I get that. The gameplay formula from Software is always great, the general art direction of this game is absolutely amazing with its gothic Lovecraftian style. There's also the tone of the game, the narrative. Many people praise the faster pace of Bloodborne as well as more interesting weapons you can use. Also, this game came out in an era when fans were really looking forward to PlayStation exclusives, and that game was made by From Software only for PS4. So why nothing is happening with either a remaster or a sequel? Well, actually, there is no single definitive answer to this question, but an interesting take is a theory made by the ex-head of PlayStation Worldwide Studios. He said that Miyazaki really loved Bloodborne and he might be interested in making a sequel to this game, but he's so busy with other projects that he cannot do it himself, and he definitely doesn't want anyone else to make a next Bloodborne game. It also goes along with what fans have been expressing for years now, that if Bloodborne was to come back, it has to come from the same creator. It's not that From Software is just avoiding the game. Apart from another Dark Souls, they did Sekiro, Armored Core, Elden Ring, now Night Train, and they're hard at work with the Duskbloods for Nintendo Switch too. And seeing how long projects like that take, and considering that probably everyone would like Miyazaki to make them a game, there might simply be no time to make another Bloodborne. So even though I believe that there's no way that Bloodborne 2 will ever be made by the original creators, and let's be real, this is the only way it would count, I think Bloodborne fans have plenty to look forward to because From Software keeps pumping out a great game after a great game, and some say that the Duskbloods is the closest thing to a new Bloodborne that we're ever going to get, so maybe it has to be enough. Now, I left a really small project for last, and I'm not sure how many of you actually remember it, but you know what we should get that we'll most likely never will? Thronebreaker 2. This game is a spin-off of the Witcher franchise inspired by the gameplay mechanics of Gwent made for The Witcher 3 and also the standalone game, and telling the story related to the events of the third part of Sapkowski's saga, Baptism of Fire. The story of Queen Meve we get in this game precedes the events in the book in which Geralt is accidentally involved in a small battle between the Queen's forces against Nilfgaard. Even though its combat and puzzle mechanics involve modified Gwent rules, you actually traverse the map collecting resources, building your deck, and making meaningful choices as you go. It is a full-fledged story, fully voiced, that came out at a time that it wasn't certain whether CD Projekt will still continue making Witcher games, considering their agreement with Andrzej Sapkowski and the related drama between the author and the studio that luckily came to a satisfying conclusion. Actually, did you know that the initial idea for a single-player story for Gwent was completely different? While the core premise for gameplay stayed the same, I actually attended a presentation at Gamescom in 2016 in which I saw the single-player module for Gwent that involved Geralt as the main character. I don't want to spread misinformation here, but I guess that the reason why Geralt was not made a main character of that single-player Gwent-style game was because at that time the agreement with Sapkowski was not yet renegotiated, and Geralt simply could not be the main protagonist of yet another game made by the studio. Those were really interesting days. After The Witcher 3 we got standalone Gwent, in the end we got Thronebreaker, there was something called Rogue Mage recently, there was even Pokemon Go style Monster Slayer. I think CDPR was trying out various things, but now their work is more focused with the new Witcher trilogy, Cyberpunk 2, the remake of the first Witcher, Project Sirius made by the American branch of the studio, as well as Project Hadar, that is the studio's first original IP. Yeah, they have things to do. But that is exactly the reason why I don't think we'll get any other Thronebreaker, even if it was related to a different character, not Meve. Gwent, even though beloved by many, was not the hit that it was supposed to be, so another card-based single player? I really don't think so. Although I would absolutely love to get another game like this. It was unique, it was fun, and it had really nice card-based puzzles. Okay, so that is my list. 6 sequels which I think will never come, although I would absolutely love to play these hypothetical games. Now it's your turn. Let's have some fun with this and tell me what sequels would you like to play, even though you're pretty sure there's no way they could ever be made. Thank you for watching, take care.